if I could only invest in one account every year for the rest of my life, it would probably be my Roth IRA. Not because it's a flashy account, but because of the long-term advantages it gives you. So in this video, I want to explain why I try to max out my Roth IRA every year. Part one, what is a Roth IRA? Simply put, it's a retirement investment account. Contributions are made to it after taxes, are made after taxes, and investments inside the account grow tax-free. So I'm not going to go into like formulas or how it all works, but just know this, remember this: the longer you let your investments compound inside the account, the more powerful the growth becomes. Compounding interest, or as Albert Einstein called it, the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. And with a Roth IRA, like mentioned before, it can grow completely tax-free, and you'll be able to take it out tax-free. Part two, tax-free growth is the goal, is a cheat code almost. Yes, normal brokerage accounts are nice. You have a little more freedom on them. You can invest as much as you want inside of them. But with the normal brokerage account, it taxes the gains. You have taxes on the gains as you continue to compound inside the account. And by no means am I saying, hey, don't open up a normal brokerage account as well. But this is more just kind of geared towards why I would pick the Roth IRA over anything else. The Roth IRA, once again, is tax-free growth, and when you take it out, so tax-free withdrawals in retirement, which I think at the moment is 59.5 is when you're allowed to start taking out your gains from the Roth IRA. But you're also able to take out your contributions at any time, so it's not locked in there till you're 59.5. And like I said before, just kind of harping on that tax-free growth. If you do this from your 20s or your 30s, whenever you get started in the Roth IRA journey, and you do it till you hit retirement status, or maybe if you continue to invest inside of it, you're looking at decades of tax-free growth. So it could be game changer, especially towards your later years in life. And like I said, you can invest 30 or 40 years. This is a long journey. That tax advantage can become very significant very quickly. Part three, I wanted to cover why I think the Roth IRA almost keeps you disciplined a little more than other accounts. And I kind of directly tie that to the contribution limits of the Roth IRA. So I think this year it is the max you can invest inside a Roth IRA is $7,500. That's the annual contribution limit. You're not allowed to put any more into the Roth IRA at that point. I think if you are past a certain age, you're actually allowed to invest a little more. They kind of give you like a I don't know if you want to call it like a catch up buffer, where it kind of allows you to kind of catch up a little bit if you're a little farther down in life, but maybe you didn't get the opportunity to start investing inside of it earlier. I will definitely compare it to, it forces consistent investing. It's kind of almost like a mini game inside your financial journey, because you're set at a limit. Like, hey, you can only invest this much money. Once you hit that limit, you're done. Like, you don't have to invest inside of it anymore. If you only want to stick to investing in a Roth IRA, good on you. You're done for the year. Or you can start opening up a normal brokerage account and working on that. But yeah, with the Roth IRA, you can set a certain amount of money a month, like a goal to reach that $7,500. Or if you can't reach that $7,500, maybe you're like, okay, well, hey, I'll invest $200 a month, and by the end of the year, you'll be at that set amount. And I think it ultimately just encourages long-term thinking. When you invest in a Roth IRA, you understand like, hey, I can take my contributions out whenever I want to. But with this account, all that money that I put into it is growing tax-free, and I'm able to withdraw it completely tax-free. So when you look at it like that, you kind of put yourself in that mindset, like, hey, this account is designed for long-term growth, long-term thinking. And I think it just helps you kind of stay away from, pulling out any contributions you have in that account and, making sure you're hitting those contribution limits for the year. And, I think, like I said, it just really forces you to invest every year. I think it's a really helpful account. Part 4, I wanted to cover, flexibility compared to other retirement accounts. I kind of covered these briefly so far. But like I said, contributions can be withdrawn if needed. I don't recommend it, but sometimes you fall on hard times, you got to take the money out. You're able to take that money out without a penalty. This account, like many investment accounts, but kind of more geared toward this video, it's good for the long-term investors. You're putting money in here, you're setting it and forgetting it. And like I said, it's good for long-term because as it's compounding tax-free. And then when it gets to the time, you can withdraw tax-free. I hate to keep mentioning that, but I mean, that is the probably sole reason why I would choose a Roth IRA over any investment account if I only had to pick one. And it's just great for young investors. One, because the younger you are, the younger you start. Time is on your side. Time is the ultimate advantage for long-term investing. Like I said, more opportunity, more time to put money into the account, and on the same side, more opportunity for it to compound and grow over the years. I look at it as a retirement account, but it's also a flexible long-term investment tool because, like I said, if need be, I could take out my contributions. I can't take any money that I made in the account without taking a penalty, but I can take out any of the contributions I want at any time. Part 5, why I personally prioritize it. I want to start this section off by saying, I know I'm giving a lot of advice in this video, but I'm not a financial advisor. I don't work at a bank. I'm not a professional. I mean, this is strictly, what I'm doing in my life, what I've been told, like what I was recommended. And this is helping me achieve my financial goals in my life. So like I said, this is my personal experience, personal journey, insert whatever. So don't take this as financial advice, just take it as, my financial opinion that I've done research on. So like I said, as always, guys, do your research on these accounts, do your research on what I'm saying. Like, don't take my word 100%. I try not to steer you guys in the wrong direction, but I can always be wrong. So that I always like to include that disclaimer. But like I said, jumping back into like part 5, why I personally prioritize it. Once again, I'm going to keep harping on, the tax-free growth. It's a long-term investing strategy, and it's a simple one at that. For me personally, maxing out my Roth IRA is one of the simplest ways to consistently build wealth. And like I said, when it gets to that time, start taking money out, tax-free, growth-free. You honestly cannot take that part of it lightly. I mean, it's so nice. So, closing thoughts for me tonight. I kind of want to, throw it back at you guys. If you're new to investing, understanding accounts like the Roth IRA can make a huge difference over time. And like I said, you don't have to start by maxing out the Roth IRA every year. If you can, that's great. That's awesome. That is a main goal of mine to max out my Roth IRA every year. But you don't need to invest thousands of dollars immediately. You don't need to reach that $7,500 limit for the year. It really always comes down to consistency mattering the most. Like I said, if you could do, $200 a month for 12 months, great. If you could do more, awesome. If you could max it out, even better. Then you can be like, hey, I maxed out this account for the year. If you want to be done investing altogether, cool, you could do that. I think, you do that for 30, 40 years, you'll still land on a pretty solid nest egg if you strictly only invest in the Roth IRA. I don't recommend it. I recommend you open other accounts to continue investing. But to each their own, it all depends on, what your goals are in life. So I think that's it for me tonight, guys. I appreciate you tuning in as always, joining me on this financial journey and taking a seat at the lunch table. So as always, guys, have a good night. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.